We out here streaming, boys. We out here streaming, boys. We out here streaming, boys. And we're back in the game. Cause we're streaming, boys. Oh, we're streaming, boys. And we're back in the game. Cause we live. Oh, so live. You weren't first. We them boys. Hey, we make the noise. But I think Orion was first. We them boys. Hold on. I gotta post out to the people. Cause it's a Friday night. And I'm feeling okay. But it's time to get some beats out. It's time to come and play. What's going on? Here comes the boom. Wow! I gotta stop that shit. What's up, boom? What's up, boys running? What's up, Orion Sododoze? Why do I feel like I'm about to get hoed on some fuck shit? Oh, why does the bitrate do this? You've normalized. I'm trying to see. Like the internet, it's like the weird thing like spiked and it's not making any sense. We're gonna give it a second and see if it resets itself because it's being very weird and I'm not a fan of it. But you know, life is some bull like it always is. Looks like I think I'm losing my mind again. This isn't good. God damn it. Oh my goodness. All right, anyways. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you are all well. Hopefully YouTube is fucking with me. I have a sneaking suspicion it's not. And that's not good. But maybe it's bullshitting. Okay. I don't know. YouTube seems to be going through like these weird blips with the internet and it's pissing me off. Because I didn't have any problems until I did the YouTube stream. The fucking Twitch ones have been fine. Well, mostly fine. We're good? Alright, we're good. We're good. Okay. So, Sony in 2024. I don't even know what the POG is, Revolver. I know of poggers, but I don't know what the POG is. What POG do you want to see, Revolver? Answer that question for me. Please and thank you. I'm just curious. Let's see. You want me to Google POG? Oh my God, don't make me Google. Oof. This is going to be one of those things where I'm going to regret it immediately. Fine. You know what? I got some time as people come up in here. We will Google POGs. I'm gonna just. I want to just tell you, All I did was type in the word Pog into Google search, and the first 4 results gave me way more than I think I ever needed in my life. I don't think I ever needed this much of anything. This, yeah, I didn't know. I've been ignorant this whole time. It is indeed my fault, and I apologize. I should have known about the Pog, and I didn't, so that's on me. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, there's been a lot of PlayStation talk, because apparently people have been getting fired. We don't know anything about what games are coming out next year. And the handful of games we do know about, we don't have anything like locked in. And so, of course, the question that's coming up is, what is next for PlayStation in 2024? So, how many, I guess the first question is, for those of you here, how many of you own a PlayStation? And tell the truth. If you own it, you own it. But I'm just curious. Start us off with a simple question. How many of you all own a PlayStation 5? A PlayStation 5. You got that PlayStation 5, bruh? Heard you got the 5. Got some crazy shit in it, the 5. It's wild. But that's the first important question. How many of you own the 5? I played every PlayStation exclusive, and I can honestly say I'm not satisfied. Dang. Lelouch owns a fucking... I knew Lelouch was a Sony pony. Lelouch out here with fucking PS5s. So, for those of you who have PS5s, I imagine a lot of you have Spider-Man, which is fine. No judgment. Because from what I've been hearing, it's a great game. The question is, what are you... What you looking forward to next year? And what do you know about the games that are coming next year for the PS5? And are you looking just forward to first party or third party? The PS2 is probably the best objective console from Sony. Objectively, it is. All right, so we got Final Fantasy. Not really too surprised there. I'm gonna be doing research while we're doing this just to make sure. I know Lost Soul Side, Orion, Jesus Christ. I knew this was coming. So I'm checking now. Because I want to make sure I got this locked in. Hey Navy. What's up, Phenomenal Soul? I have a PS2, which technically makes it a PS5. That's... You have a 2 and a 3. You are a fucking savage. Sit your ass down, bro. I'm actually just scrolling through which games we got. So we got games coming out, obviously. That's not really the issue. The issue is, what exclusive games do we have coming only to the PlayStation brand to look forward to? That's the bigger question. Because I'm scrolling down. We have Rebirth, which comes out in the end of February. I have a PS1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Probably get a PS1 when I'm available. Hey man, if you want the full collection, that's what you do. We don't have a lot announced for PS5. We just have games that are talked about. And then that's the problem. Also, we got to stop calling Final Fantasy an exclusive. It's not. So, here's the issue. You're right, it's not. But it is. If that makes sense. Because technically Final Fantasy Rebirth is only on the PS5. Like, from what we know as of right now, it's only on the PS5. So technically it is a PS5 exclusive, but Final Fantasy in itself isn't a Sony exclusive But that goes back to a conversation I'd had before with a couple other people that that Square wants Sony to buy them. Like Square cannot be any more obvious with the painfully obvious, hey, do I look cute? And if I do look cute, why haven't you put a ring on me yet in the terms of making me one of your companies? They want to be bought. Well, yeah, technically you're right. It is a time exclusive. But the point I'm making is that's where we're at with Square. With big budget Square, that seems to be mainly a Sony thing. Nintendo gets the double A stuff, with Xbox getting shit at. Damn it. With Xbox getting shit after the fact. I took a nap, so maybe I'm just groggy from that. I don't fucking know. The point is that that's the current situation we're in. Is that Square wants to be bought. So with Square, depending on the tier of game we get, depends on whether or not. We also got that Death Stranding 2 that's coming out sometime next year. We don't fucking know. I'm surprised we haven't heard anything about the Game Awards, because the Game Awards, usually we would start hearing something about pretty soon. Because usually Game Awards usually kick off around this month or early December. Heart Stranding 2. Jesus Christ. Sony buying Square Enix wouldn't help because Sony doesn't support Japanese devs. Yeah, but you're also talking about Square Enix, who's actively trying to become more Western. Like, literally, a lot of their big budget titles as of lately have been very much more geared towards the Western audience. Hence why you got things like fucking Final Fantasy 16, essentially a Game of Thrones clone. That's what it is. It's, hey, let's make this game essentially Game of Thrones. Because they like Game of Thrones. And that's where we're at. I'm not necessarily saying it's the right thing, but it is the current thing that we're dealing with. To play devil's advocate, does it really matter? PlayStation has been around for 20 plus years. We all know that what games make it at this point and know what will come eventually. Do we though, King of Blades? Because I'll be real with you, this isn't like Nintendo, where every time we get a new Nintendo console, you're expecting a Mario, you're expecting a Zelda, you're expecting at this point, you're expecting a Pokemon and a Splatoon. With Sony, you don't really know what you're expecting because it changes every gen. Like, no one expected Uncharted in 2020 on the PS3. No one expected Last of Us at the end of that. Ugh, fuck. It's cold out, and I guess that's making me sleepy, which is pissing me off. But no one expected a Ghost of Tsushima. Like, Sony barely uses its old IPs. Like, of the IPs we've gotten, now ironically enough, the IPs we've gotten so far is mostly been old shit. But it's been old shit that's been recently, like, reintroduced to the public. So, like, new God of War, another installment in Horizon, which isn't shocking. Another installment into Marvel Spider-Man, which isn't shocking. Ratchet and Clank, which is surprisingly the IP that has lasted absurdly long, considering how homogenized that IP has become. Like, Ratchet and Clank isn't even really Ratchet and Clank in terms of, if you've seen or played the old games, it doesn't even feel like the same Ratchet and Clank. But, you know, that's a matter of perspective, I guess. And then there's rumors about them remaking Last of Us 2, and everyone's in the back like, why? Any thoughts on Mario Wonder? I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying Mario Wonder. I've been playing it decently. Not as much as I have wanted to, but I've just been busy and stuff. Plus, there's just a bunch of other things I haven't even got my hands on to. I haven't finished Zelda yet. Haven't touched the Frontiers DLC yet. Like, there's just other things I've been trying to do. And it's just been busy. But as far as Wonder is concerned, from what I've played of it, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it a lot, actually. It's a very, like, enjoyable Mario experience while also still being fresh and interesting. So I'm having fun with Wonder. We're just in a weird spot with Sony where, like, there are certain studios you can expect things from. But as far as what those things are, we don't know. We's also, only reason why I'm even bringing this up is because remember, we just got off a year where we only got one major game release. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is the only major Sony game release we got. And when people made the joke before, Insomniac is 110% carrying Sony right now. This is their third game on this console. If you count Miles, if you count Ratchet and Clank, and now this game, and then they got Wolverine in probably a couple more years, bro, they are carrying Sony right now, which is wild. It looks like Nintendo's going to keep the Switch around forever, which works for me, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if I would say they'll keep it around forever. The question more so is when we get the announcement of the new Nintendo console, is it going to be one of those things where it's a continuation of the Switch's like beginnings, or is it more like, hey, we're going to reinvent the wheel again? Because with Nintendo, it can go either way. Rise of the Ronin is due to release next year, which is the PS5 exclusive. It's time to look up Rise of the Ronin. That name sounds familiar. I probably have seen it at the very least. But the problem with that one, and I think the biggest problem is that we are in November, right? November. And, oops. Yeah, we're in November, right? And next year is like 2 months away. And we have like barely any fucking confirmation of game releases from Sony themselves, period. Like, yeah, technically Final Fantasy Rebirth has a release date. But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth isn't Sony. It's a Sony timed exclusive, but it isn't Sony. Everyone's in the back like, hey, when are we going to start getting like Sony announcements? Because realistically, there would have to be some sort of like state of play or something to come soon. It's one of the reasons why. What the hell is that? No. It's one of the reasons why I said we should be hearing some sort of news, because it's kind of wild that we've heard like jack shit and all. Because spoiler, that's what's happened. We've heard jack shit and all, which is kind of concerning considering. Oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. Sorry. I have not touched Superstars. I wasn't really excited to play Superstars because of the whole... Superstars is one of those games that I think is lacking some level of polish to it, and I'm just not in the mood. Like, I'll play the DLC for Frontiers way before that. I'm not saying I won't ever play Superstars, I'm just not in a hurry to play it. I believe the ABK lawsuit ate up Sony's whole year. ABK. Is that the stuff? Hold on. Let me see. Oh yeah, Sly's been dead for a while. Sly's been dead since the PS3. But Frontier's been great. Man, if you're talking about just Frontier by itself, yeah. Sony's danger right now is that it's becoming too complacent with their IP and general exclusives. They're heading into a very Xbox direction, losing their actual identity. Legacy won't carry them forever. I don't think Legacy's been carrying them at all. They've been actively getting rid of their legacy as we go forward. Like I said, Retro, like, most Sony IPs don't make it out of, like, maybe 2 generations anymore. Like, this is Uncharted's. Like, Uncharted, we haven't seen Uncharted, and that was on the PS3. Uncharted lived and died between 2 console generations. Last of Us is technically on its 3rd generation, but that's also in the form, but it also only has 2 games. It's actually the slowest they've been with their IP. Because when you think of Uncharted went through 3 fucking titles on the PS3, and then another 1.5 on the PS4. Like, a lot of their stuff does... Oh, Activision and Blizzard. Okay, gotcha. True will get Superstars during Black Friday's deals. Maybe. What's the last Sonic game you truly enjoyed? Frontiers. I enjoyed the shit out of Frontiers. third party and bad decisions from competitors has carried Sony. Absolutely. Like I said, people always talk about the PS4 being this crazy great console. It wasn't. It was literally just, it was just there. The reason why the PS4 is as successful as it was, half of which was due to their competition both fumbling the ball in their respective lanes, and neither one of them properly recovering until Nintendo made a whole new console, and Xbox is still trying to recover. No, I read the Black Friday deal lightning. I just said I don't know about that. That's literally what I said. They can barely carry themselves without their recent studio purchases. Oh. Oh. They used to carry themselves. No, I wouldn't say they used to carry themselves. The way I always look at them, when you say there will be no hype for Metro Prime 4 until we get footage. When I get footage, then you can start to get excited. Right now, that game is a myth. Like how Pikmin 4 was a myth until it came out. Yeah, Rise of the Ronin, Stellar Blade, Silent Hill 2, Death Stranding 2 were all PS5 exclusives or timed exclusives, but have no release dates or even news of them as of late. That's the problem. We're literally sitting in an era where even a lot of the third-party games, you're just like, when are we getting? When are we getting? When are we playing? When are we enjoying? And a lot of people are like, I don't fucking know. But when it comes to PlayStation, the biggest issue right now is just that you just don't know. You forgot Lost Souls aside as well. But yeah, like that's the issue. Sony going into next year, we know literally jack shit about. Now, granted, there's nothing stopping them from dropping like from dropping a state of play. But I'll be real with you, Sony's state of plays usually range from being fucking terrible to mediocre at best. And usually they're only mediocre because it has a bunch of third-party stuff that people want to see footage of, right? That's literally their claim to fame. Claim to fame. That's what they do. And at a certain point, you have to sit there and wonder, is this really the best we're going to get? And the short answer is yes. The long answer is Sony's goal, we don't even know if Sony plans to make another physical console next generation. And at this point, I want people to just be real with you. How would you rank the PS5 generation just based off its first 3 years, I think is what we're on now? Because it released in 2020. So we're 3 years into the PS5. How do y'all feel? For those of you who own the console, how do you feel about this generation for them? Because to me, it's been pretty whatever. This is the longest I've been. I won't say it's the longest. That's not true. I usually go a long time without buying a PlayStation system. Like, I usually don't get a PlayStation system at launch. So what ends up happening is I end up waiting until about this time when they release a Slim or a Pro version, and then I buy the console. Because then I have a decent amount of games I want to play on it. The problem here is I already have a console that plays all the third-party stuff. So Resident Evil 4, I have a console to do that. If I want to play Persona 3 Reloaded, I have a console to do that. The Xbox is serving the third-party box role well. So the only thing I would buy a PS5 for at this point is the exclusives, which half of which are currently on fucking PC. Right? I can play Miles Morales on PC. I can't play Spider-Man 2. I can't play God of War Ragnarok. And I can't play Horizon Forbidden West. Those are like the 3 notable games I would give a shit about. The PS5 became the gotcha station. I want you to explain that one, Red Dragon. Oh, because I've been getting a lot of gotchas? Sorry, I read the second thing without the first thing. Let's see. Throw your thoughts on the experience on the Xbox One X or S and how the UI interface in the menu. I don't really have any issues with the Xbox's like interface. I know some people do, but I'm also not owning it a lot. The main time I'm playing Xbox stuff is mainly for streams. I think every game except for like Frontiers. Frontiers was like the only game I played where it was just a me experience with the game. Xbox is fine. I never really had any issues with the quality of the Series X. The Series X as a console has been perfectly fine. No real issues. The only issue I've had has nothing to do with the console. It was with my fucking streaming software having a glitch and not properly capturing the audio for the game. But the game itself, I mean, the console itself I had no issues with. Looks good. I'm gonna get it. Zah. It will be. It's already actually pre-purchased anyway, so I'll be getting it the day it comes out. Yeah, the PS is getting exclusives. He's getting exclusive gotchas. Let's see. I don't feel like PS5 has really convinced me. I would be missing out if I didn't own it. Agreed. That's kind of been the main issue. That like, there's no rush for any of this thing. Like usually a game system comes out and there's at least a couple of titles where you're like, I gotta play this game, so I'm gonna get this system. And every console has at least 1 or 2 or 4 or 5 of those games, depending on the console. And the biggest issue currently is that PlayStation 5 has like 1, maybe 1. But the problem is they're just continuations of the same games you played before. Like Marvel Spider-Man 2 is more Marvel Spider-Man, right? Horizon Forbidden West is more Horizon. Fucking God of War Ragnarok is more God of War. Does it mean these games are bad and that these games aren't exciting in their own rights? No. But what it means is that if you play the first ones, all that you can play Horizon on PC, you can play Marvel Spider-Man on PC, you can play fucking God of War on PC. So the first of those games you can play online. If you like those games and you're like, I hope they do something crazy and innovative with the second game, and then realize, oh, it's just more of the same, which isn't bad because plenty of game companies do that. Nintendo does that, Square does that, right? Are you really like as excited about it though? Does it really make it a, man, I really gotta own this game? Like imagine coming from like, I don't know, I guess fucking Skyward Sword and then going to Breath of the Wild. That is a completely different fucking experience. It's also 3 different consoles technically. But the point I'm making is that became a killer app for Switch owners. Out the gate, you were getting a Zelda, A, that you were promised, and B, was a game changer. Now, Tears of the Kingdom would be more of like a Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok, that kind of stuff. A continuation of what worked. But the excitement that you had would have already had you having a Switch just off the first game, right? These are going between 2 different console generations. It's not like you need to play Marvel Spider-Man 2 to get a Marvel Spider-Man experience. Because, spoiler alert, you can get that online. You can get that on your PlayStation 4. Like, what are you missing? For me, the PlayStation 5 is the Spider-Man 2 and Demon's Souls remake machine. The only reason why I wanted one at launch was because I knew Spider-Man 2 was going to be on PS5. PlayStation has been my main platform since the PS1. 7 months ago, I switched over to the Xbox outside of Final Fantasy and Rebirth and more access to JRPGs. I have zero desire to own a PS5. Exactly. PS5's market share very much hinged on things that I don't even think they care about anymore. I'm missing the Venom suit. Okay, fine, Retro. Let's see. Not many people were willing to buy an expensive PC, to be honest. I mean, you say that, but people were out here spending thousands of dollars on PS5s when they first came out. Remember, them bitches were so rare. Niggas were paying like ridiculous amounts of money to buy a $500 console. But they weren't spending $500. They were spending like $1,000. Low-key, my PS5 will use mainly for watching DVDs, Blu-rays, and streaming. At this rate, I'm missing the message. You don't need an expensive PC, and you can upgrade your PC at your own pace. Agree. Webs of Shadows exist, though. That's true, too. Ooh, Navy. Navy, hit him with the classic. Navy. Ooh, that's good. I approve. I approve. He hit Retro like the... Oh, Retro! Webs of Shadow, dog. That's crazy. That's also a cooler name, by the way. Spider-Man Webs of Shadow. That's a hard name. That's a hard-ass name. On top of that, we've heard some reports of either studios canceling projects and fucking not only canceling projects, but people getting fired. So Sony's out here restructuring their whole like upper division, and you're like, what the hell? I'd rather stick to my PS, to be honest. Also, Terrell, I recently found out that RE4 remake on PC is dog shit compared to its console counterpart. Too many of these games feel like interactive movies. That might be the cause of the lack of excitement. I brought the gas. I know you brought the gas. You're right, Dante. But that's been Sony's MO for a while now. Sony's been doing that since late PS3. And then PS4 very much continued it. And PS5 is very much continuing it. Like, we're still getting the cinematic game. That's what we've been getting. That's what we will continue to get. I don't necessarily think that's right or that it's fair, but it is what it is. Like, that's what we're getting. Which is a problem within its own right, but what are you going to do? But you're absolutely right. D3D, Fatal Crash error frequently. I feel like I'm the only one here who's fine with the PlayStation. It's not that you're, I mean, I think most of the public is generally fine with the PlayStation, Red Dragon. Like, my stream is not like the sample size. I'm just saying, like, I think it's something to be aware of. And then on top of that, the fact that, like, very soon, PlayStation's going to lose that exclusive rights to Call of Duty content, which I'm going to be real with you, is going to hurt them a lot. And I do mean that. It's going to hurt them a lot. The major problem is that every Sony studio is trying to copy the Naughty Dog formula. I don't know why I read that wrong. The Naughty Dog formula. Of course. Because it's a formula that's been proven to work. And unfortunately, we're in a generation where people don't want to take risks anymore because the financial cost is too great. So I understand the fear. I understand the reservation. I understand I don't know about all this, man. Like, I get it. But, like, as a result, we're now getting games that are essentially just the same homogenized bull. And unfortunately, there's no variety. Also, Sony hasn't really promoted it much anyway. I'm okay with PlayStation. I just don't own a PS5. And I don't like what Sony has done over the last few years. On top of that, remember, all you guys who are currently paying for PS Plus, that increase in price for no difference, you know, people don't just naturally take kind to that. Where all of a sudden you spending more money, but like there was nothing to be gained. And spoiler, there was nothing gained. Also, Sony's a Western company, which is a bummer since Sony originally from Japan. You said that wrong, Lightning. What you're saying is Sony has adopted Western game design. That's very much what has happened. Sony has very much embraced Western game design, regardless if it's a detriment to anybody. They don't care. They do not care. The whole point is they want Western game. They like Western gaming design because Americans buy their games the most, which is true. Most Americans, the U.S. gives them more money than Japan does, which is why they gave up on Japan in the first place. Now, if you ask them, they didn't give up on Japan, but everybody who knows better knows they gave up on fucking Japan. And currently, we're in a situation where realistically, all they have over there is phones and Nintendo, and a lot of them are just defaulting to their fucking phones. So Nintendo's having to fight against the phones, and another company that should be right there with them is like, I ain't doing this shit. And you're just like, what? What do you mean you're not doing this shit? But spoiler, they're not doing this shit. So it's just been it's been a trip. And like I said, on top of all of that, you also are in the current position of like, we don't know what the fuck you're coming out with. There's no reason to spend more money on games that aren't even complete nowadays. Well, that's true. Pre-order culture is toxic as fuck. Unless the game absolutely deserves that trust because it's from a trusted studio, and even then, you realistically don't need to pre-order. People do that because they're excited, not because they need to. No, Sony hasn't been selling well in Japan, but they also haven't been trying to appeal to Japan for a while anyway. Sounds like Japan could use a Nokia Engage 2. Engaged again. Shut the fuck up, Retro. Retro's an inspiration, but I hate this son of a bitch. But yeah, Sony's not trying to sell in Japan. Sony doesn't care about selling in Japan. That's why I don't think Final Fantasy 16 did well in Japan. Because it wasn't appealing to Japanese audiences. What kills me though is that's what got Capcom in trouble years ago on the PS3 and 360. They spent all that time trying to Americanize every fucking thing, and it absolutely screwed them. Screwed them in every aspect. So what they had to do, go back to their roots and get their shit together. And luckily, this last generation or so, they've been on their shit. They're unfortunately still falling for the problem of like, hey, look, Capcom and Sega and fucking all these other third parties have all these great IPs. How many do you think we're going to get to see this generation? Like fucking 3 of them bitches. For Capcom, it's Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, and Street Fighter. For fucking Square, it's Final Fantasy. Ooh, that's bad. Hold on. Final Fantasy. What else? For Square, it might just be Final Fantasy. I feel like I'm missing a title, and I guess Dragon Quest. I would say Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest. Those are like the two. Yeah, Revolver. You already said it. Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest would have been their other game. Sega, it's what? Sonic, Yakuza. They've been experimenting a little bit, but I think it's mainly been Sonic and Yakuza. And I guess if you count Atlas under that, then Persona. Saying Steam is free when Steam has its messed up as well. I mean, nothing's perfect, so yeah, I can agree with that statement. Nothing's perfect, so don't just default to saying Steam is free. Because you also still have to buy games on Steam, so it's not like it's free. It's just, it's free to use. It's not free to have. I mean, to get new games, though. You still got to put in the work and effort on that anyway. But yeah, that's our current situation. We're in an era of time where people are a lot more afraid to put out new IPs because of the financial risk. You got a bunch of studios closing down. You got other studios being bought by major studios, and then you have those studios being mismanaged. Some of which are being closed, some of which are being moved into other studios, some of which are even being taken off their own projects. And now you're sitting over here wondering, where are my games at? And I'm over here looking like they're gone. And you're like, but why? And I'm like, money. And I'm like, money, 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 money. Fuck! I don't have any money. And so now, the question goes back to the original thing. With these things being known, Sony has a bunch of shit that can easily come out in 2024. The problem is, we don't know about any of that shit. We know very small details, but we've heard nothing new, and it's fucking November. We are now in pre-Christmas month. This is also the month where they got a bunch of shit coming out. The Portal comes out. The PS5 Slim comes out. Like, we got hardware coming out. And the question then becomes, what are we going to play on this new hardware? It can't just be Spider-Man 2, right? It looks like it's just Spider-Man 2. Fuck! And someone's in the back screaming, how did this keep happening to me? Why does this keep happening to me? It's cold, dude. I need to go cut on the heater. You can thank EA for buying the competition and destroying them, like closing down for no reason. No, I get it. I'm not saying But it's not just EA. There's multiple companies that do that shit. The industry is tougher and it's harder to make the money you need to make games like pop. You're more than welcome to name the pros of the PSN. The PSN at this point is almost becoming a ripoff. Like that price uptick y'all just had. What was that for? Game Pass isn't necessarily to me a save all situation, but there are clear advantages to having Game Pass, especially if you're someone who's trying to be affordable. If you're someone who's trying to save money and get the most out of your $10, it's absolutely worth the money. Technically 11, but still, the point is it's worth the money for that reason alone, which is perfectly fine. No issues there. But when I look over the PlayStation, I'm like, so it's just a lesser version of Xbox's system that costs more money. That's wild to me. And there was nothing gained. And Sony just said we did it because we could. That's the other part that's wild. Why are you doing this? Because I can. What's the advantage? Nah, because money. And people still pay for it. People are currently paying for it. Because they think it's worth the money. Or because they just want to use the systems. That's the other problem. I don't know. I'm just kind of bummed out. They got to start taking risks. Otherwise, they'll alienate anger of the fan base who put their money elsewhere. You say that, but I don't see them doing that. I agree they should, but I don't see them doing that because there's too much money they've still made. That's the problem. That is absolutely the problem. There's too much money to be made in appealing to the Western market, and that's what they've been doing. Do you think PlayStation will ever return to its former glory, or are we just stuck with third-person cinematic games? They're going to have to stop making money. When those games stop making money is when you'll start getting a change. But they're still making money. So that's why. Sony in 2024. Games you're looking forward to. Games that are coming out. Is Sony doing... Actually, if anything, the bigger question is Sony appealing too much to the Western market? Well, I'm going to ask you guys that. Is Sony to you, to any of y'all in the chat, it's like 23 viewers right now, is Sony appealing way too much to the Western market, or do you think they're fine? And then I also want to go into what you think Sony's biggest problem is as a gaming company. And I might do this for Nintendo and Xbox as well, just to be fair and to have a conversation about it. I mean, I'm going to set those up as separate streams, but the first question to you guys would be, do you think Sony, game-wise, what is Sony's biggest problem for you guys? Yeah, exactly, Revolver. They're casual market. Each company has a casual market. Their casual markets are just different. That's the biggest thing. Appealing to the Western market is fine when you have variety, but Sony is lacking. Because I don't want to make this like a bias thing. I want this to be a community effort. Actually stepping into the next gen, they basically have no exclusives after 3 years. Damn, you are a savage. Hey, Donnie. They got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Well, because we also were dealing with the cross-gen struggles in the beginning anyway. That was the other problem. We still were struggling with like getting full on. All their multiplayer games are dead as fuck. I don't even think they really care about that anymore, bro. I think multiplayer for them has been dead for a while. Terrell got that lineup. Shut the hell up, Apex. But thank you. Resistance and Killzone both shelved, and Factions 2 is vaporware. Oh no, agreed. That's where a lot of the problems have come in. The first game for next year is a gas Helldivers. I think I did see Helldivers when I was looking up stuff. The PS Plus subscription service is incredibly lackluster, especially at the higher tiers. I remember most of the titles of the PS1 base because they have legendary lineup, variety. Nowadays, only 2 big hits and so for the rest. The problem is that every company has that one company that's kind of holding them down. Now, Nintendo, having a lot of internal stuff, kind of handles that shit themselves. But even then, most people would say Monolith Soft has very much become like a ooh, if you want a quality JRPG, Monolith Soft got you, right? Hell, Monolith Soft has been helping on other titles as well. So Monolith Soft, you could argue, is that studio for Nintendo. For Xbox, it's that's hard. I guess Xbox would just be their main game studio. And then for PlayStation is Insomniac. Insomniac is carrying like a motherfucker right now, which is wild to me because I know damn well you got other studios be making games. PS5 has no identity. That doesn't help them rebooting their VR, which I didn't see the point of rebooting it. Just build upon it. Why even do this? PS6 launch titles, The Last of Us 1 and 2 special edition remakes of the remakes. Oh my goodness! But seriously, I want y'all to talk about your complaints with Sony. Like, what are your concerns going into 2024 with Sony? Yeah, look at how buggy Spider-Man 2 is. LOL. I have been seeing clips of that though. Bugasti. What the hell is that, Red Dragon? Is that the name of the game? What is that? Also, I don't think Helldivers even has a does Helldivers even have a fucking release date, or is it we just know it's coming out? I'm only asking because I haven't seen a release date for Helldivers. Oh no, it's February 8th. February 8th. Okay, gotcha. It's that, then Final Fantasy. No actual next-gen exclusive is honestly my main complaint. I don't know, we're just in a weird spot where it feels like, what are you really looking forward to? Microsoft main studio is for Starfield. Yeah, but I don't know. With Microsoft, I have to acknowledge, Microsoft, I have to get out of the mindset of realizing that I guess that would be Bethesda. But it's because Bethesda already had their reputation, and boom, here they go. What's up, Android? For me, when it comes to Sony, they gotta stop with these boring movie games. Give me variety again. Agreed. Absolutely agree. I just don't think they fucking want to. I don't think they want to. I don't think they think it's financially viable, or do they care? To me, Yakuza and Metal Gear Solid are the best movie games. True. Although I haven't heard great things about that collection that came out, so yeah, that's a thing. You know what we could do? I just thought about it. The only thing people are waiting for is Wolverine, and we don't even know yet what that's going to be. Which, it's fair. I mean, waiting for Wolverine wouldn't even be a problem in itself because they just put out fucking Spider-Man 2. Do we have to talk about Sony? And try chill. Listen, but it's important to mention, like, Insomniac, like I said, Insomniac has been carrying like a motherfucker. So I'm allowing them time because you just put out a game. Actually, this is your, like I said, this is your third game. What the hell is that? Oh. Some fucking stabbing me. Damn. But yeah, soy Soy Ninoy. Soy Ninoy. Okay, bro, what movie games are y'all even talking about that came out on the PS5? Because I think people are just talking out the side of their mouths at this point. My complaints are with Sony are that things are most likely never going to be fixed because casuals and normies keep supporting them. I really wish gamers did more gatekeeping in retrospect. I miss collection games. Remember, we got multiple titles in one fair price. Pepper Ridge Farm remembers. Sony's like John Cena because I can't see them. Oh, whoa, that's wild. We wilding out here. What the fuck? Also, Sony games are usually one and done games. Their repeat play value isn't there after beating them. What movie game? Well, Spider-Man 2 is one. Horizon is another. Hey, listen, Last of Us 2 and God of War are movie games for casuals. Oh shit! All right, real quick. For those of you who are on the server, I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna jump in the server because this is one of those discussions that very much needs to be in voice. And I want to give some of you guys your ability to speak on the line, okay? I just want to do something real quick, though. I'm only doing this to limit. So I'm going to be, if you're in the server, if you're in my server, which you should be, but if you're not, I feel like the best time to have a conversation is to do this in a group setting, in an audio setting, honestly. Because I want you guys to be able to get out your opinions, but obviously we're on YouTube, so watch your language because my last stream got demonetized, ironically enough, for just fucking reacting to a video. So, yeah, be careful. But I am now in there. Horizon is more of an attempt at an RPG. My problem with Horizon is that the most engaging thing about Horizon is the combat. Like, literally, I have no interest in anything else but the combat. I don't usually check out of games completely, but with Horizon, the only thing I cared about streaming that game was the combat. The combat is great. I like most of that, but that's it. Ipster, I see your messages. Revolver, you gonna say something? You just want to listen.
I'm gonna say something.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna let you talk.
No, go ahead. Okay, give you 2 cents.
Well, for me, my issues, and I've said this before. We had this stream a while ago with Xbox,
Yeah.
and again, like the Sony form, they keep copying Naughty Dog, and it's fine if you have a variety of different, genres to break that up, which they don't have. Now you can say like Ghost, God of War, Horizon, they're all different, but when you really look at it, they're still the same game for the most part.
And I guess maybe we need to break down like what makes them the same. I think because for me, God of War's problem after I played the 2018 game was that essentially it turned God of War from being like a beat 'em up action game to kind of just a more like. The problem is that you pretty much looked at Last of Us and said we're just gonna do that again with some slight variation. Since God of War was always more combat focused, there's more combat sections in God of War, but it's still that fucking you can't jump naturally. You gotta fucking do things on essentially a set path. And even with your open areas, they're more like little HUDs and shit. And it felt, and my problem, and it kind of goes with what you were saying too. You're playing the same kind of game. The only thing that really changes is the lore you're interested in. Are you interested in God of War's lore? Cool. That's what makes you more interested to play God of War than Last of Us. But we're also in a generation where the amount of games we get from Sony as a developer by themselves is less than it used to be. Like, I think people were saying in the chat, we don't have Killzone is dead, Infamous is dead. I'm surprised Gran Turismo's still around. It is, so I won't count it. Sly Cooper is dead. Jack and Daxter is dead. Twisted Metal is weird in a weird dead but not dead state where they're using the IP, but there's not been any new games. You had IPs they tried like Heavenly Sword, Knack, which were both dead at this point.
2 games in, mind you, and it's dead already.
Knack died with Japan Studios since they're the ones that made that one.
Oh, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Oh, Gravity Rush too. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of that variety when we lost that studio.
And it's because Sony, they just got so cocky. You know, the PS4 is the best-selling console, second best, I think. They got cocky, and they thought, you know, the Sony brand alone would carry them.
Well, because I mean, the problem is that they're still viewed as the market leader, even now. Even with like a year where we literally got nothing except for Spider-Man this year, like in terms of major Sony releases. And the kicker is that Spider-Man has become a thing for them, even though it's Spider-Man. Like that's an established IP that is not like even a Sony. We had to count it as a Sony thing because it's a Sony exclusive, but like realistically, it's fucking Spider-Man. Like it's Marvel. The like if we're talking about just like Sony projects that isn't based off a pre-existing IP, we got jack shit this year, which is just fucking wild. And then we're going into next year with no knowledge of really anything.
I mean, for me, it's like when the Wii U did this, people were just outraged, and then you don't hear Sony fans, you know, complaining about this stuff, which I wish they would.
I think because like I said, each of the game consoles. Well, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not saying okay. I'm saying is that that's not really true because I see it on Twitter. There are people who are complaining things like what Sony's doing now, what they're doing now, and what's their game plan for next. That's basically what it is because ever since this, I would say that this whole drought started when Sony was fighting Microsoft on the Activision Blizzard lawsuit. That's when that drought really started. That's when they didn't really try to be like hush secretive, like kind of like trying to be like they try to win this lawsuit so badly. That's what I feel like that. And since Microsoft now got Activision, I feel like Sony just now.
Hold on, when you say drought, you can't really pin that on Microsoft though.
No, I'm not blaming Microsoft. I'm saying is that because Microsoft won that lawsuit, because remember Sony throughout the whole year was fighting that whole lawsuit. They have not, and they're trying to prove that they will without Call of Duty on the platform, they will be dead. The console will be dead.
It was
basically been going to the
lawsuit though. That's more like a.
I mean, if we're
Jim Ryan said this. Jim Ryan said himself that if they lost Call of Duty, PlayStation would basically be like, kind of like, what hurt them.
Well, that's their fault though. When you look at Nintendo, they still put out games.
It never made sense to me that lawsuit for some reason fucked up a whole year of development. Like that shit never made sense to me because that would imply that last year they just didn't invest much into their games division, and their only concern was I don't want to lose Call of Duty, which you still lost Call of Duty, and you only put out one major release this year, with 2 new hardware models coming out in the next what was it, 2 weeks? Which we'll see how that goes. Fucking that Portal, good God, I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out like what did Sony release over the 3 years of the PS5? That's brand new.
When you say brand, so you mean like it wasn't on the PS4 at
Brand
all?
new. Oh,
Yeah, just like a brand, like a
you're
Sony.
asking. You're asking what's brand new, right?
Yeah.
Destruction All Stars, Returnal, and I believe that's it.
No, didn't they? What about
Yeah.
And then you had that game. What is it, Astrobot? I guess that would technically be considered new.
Astrobot was from last gen.
God, or am I thinking of Sackboy? Thought it was one of those two.
You're probably thinking of Sackboy.
Sackboy is just an
Astro Boy,
extension. It's an
VR
extension
game.
from. Sackboy is just an extension from like Little Big Planet. I really would call it an extension.
I'm very curious. I'm just curious how many. Wait, like, are the majority of PlayStation users like happy with what they've gotten? Because I feel like they're not, but I'm also not hearing as much about it. Actually, you're right,
Yeah.
You're right, Blandrew. They've dropped way more hardware than they have games this year. Because I forgot the
I think
VR2
that
was
next year.
the VR2 was this year. I forgot about that.
VR, they only released like one. Yeah. But next year we're gonna have a new. Helldivers obviously gonna be a new IP too, so that's a new IP.
I mean, it's not like we don't have things to look forward to. I just think it's kind of weird we're this late into the year without really knowing anything. Like, the first major release on PlayStation 5 is a Square part 2 of a remake series. Like, that's your major fucking release. And because it's on PlayStation, we're doing that thing again where it's a game that isn't technically theirs, but it's on their console, so people associate it with PlayStation. And oh, go ahead.
No, there is another game that is a console exclusive, but it's going to be on PC as well. But it's basically just on PlayStation. It's not on anywhere else.
It's one of
basically on
those.
Grand Blue.
Oh, Grand Blue.
Yeah, it's only on PlayStation. It's not and PC. It's never on anything else.
Ipster, I'm not sure they're really censoring anything else because they haven't had a lot of Japanese games from their system, minus like some weird gacha exclusives.
Oh, that's China. That's China's exclusive. That's China gotchas.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Grand Blue's gonna be on Microsoft too. Oh, it's Windows. My fault.
So yeah, it's a PC and PlayStation situation. The other question is, are we still? Are we?
If you
The only thing I was gonna say is I'm also curious. Are we gonna go? Are we still doing the PC ports like we've been doing? Like, are we like is? I mean, we got. Well, go ahead.
They're breaking the PC ports of GOG now, so it's like they're not gonna stop doing that.
So you have even less reason to buy a PlayStation at this point. It's kind of to me, it's a similar issue that Xbox has. You don't have to buy an Xbox to get an Xbox experience. I mean, the only difference is that PlayStation is going to make you wait, whereas Xbox doesn't. Xbox just puts it out at the same time.
Well, because Sony puts out, less and less games, I don't mind waiting. That don't bother me.
Yeah, and for me, I'm used to waiting for PlayStation anyway. Like I said, I don't think I've ever bought a PlayStation console launch. It's always their second iteration of the console, the Slim, the Pro, whatever. And honestly, this would have been around the time I would have bought a PS5, but I couldn't. I now that I'm seeing them in stores consistently, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not in a hurry for any of this shit. Like,
the sad part is that the Slim is not even cheaper.
Well, yeah, technically you're right, and the digital one is actually more expensive.
Well, the Slim, technically the Slim is kind of cheaper. The only difference is you don't have to buy the dish. You don't have to buy the dish tray. You don't have to buy that.
But if you
have the digital.
But if you do, you need to be connected online for it.
Wait, really?
Yeah, the Slim is $4.99.
Yeah, but you still don't need a dish tray. That's like $70. You don't need to buy that. If you just go to get that just a digital console? That's it. You
Well,
just get that.
you'd still need it if you want, because unfortunately, the PS5 doesn't really have that much internal storage to keep all those games in. So it might be a good idea to get some physical.
Yeah, honestly, it would make more sense
But
just to
it,
buy the physical version and then detach it if you don't care for the. Because you can detach the one on the Slim, the disc drive. So realistically, it make more sense. Because to me, think about it: the digital version of the PS5 we have now is cheaper, and the only thing you would be gaining from buying the Slim version of the digital side of it is slightly more storage. I think it goes from like 800 something to like a terabyte.
yeah, that's basically it. It goes to a terabyte.
But I'm like, it should have already fucking started like that. And to me, it makes more sense just to buy the. If you're gonna buy a PlayStation 5, get the Slim. Just get the fuck.
But you can
Just get the
also,
Slim disc version.
but you can also just like upgrade your storage as well. So they gave you the option to do that shit as well. So
I mean, yeah,
1 terabyte. I mean, it's not bad. You get like an
And
expanded
when you
storage
look at
space.
the new Call of Duty's 200 gigabytes, so like that's eating up too much space as it is.
I, the fact that they don't check them with that shit is kind of wild to me. Because to me, that's a fifth of your storage shot on the new system. On the old system, it's like what, a fourth of your storage that was shot. Thanks, Donnie. That was shot off of one game. That's wild to me. But I get it. You know, you want that fucking high end experience with these uncompressed images and uncompressed graphical files and audio files. So I get it. But like that's always been the struggle with modern gaming anyway. Your discs are essentially just install keys and shit. You have to install everything even with the disc. And most people are running out of space after like their fourth or fifth game. Especially if you are a casual who spends the money for fucking if you're a casual who only plays like Call of Duty and NBA and GTA and shit. And Apex, you say what?
Or FIFA every year.
Exactly. And Apex, you're right. You can buy
Okay.
SSDs and stuff, but I think Dante's point is just as important. It's sad that you have to do that now. That used to be like an option if you wanted to. Now it's like if these console generations are lasting 7 years, there's no way in hell you're making it 7 years not having to upgrade your. I'm already running out of space on my Xbox, and I've only had that bitch since last year, I think. I think last year's when I bought it. I don't even remember. This shit is
It
wild.
all depends on it all depends on what you download on there. That's basically the problem. Because some games don't really be that. Well, the old games aren't that big, to be honest, but the new games are pretty big.
But most people are buying. I mean, most people get new consoles for new games. Well, not always, but the majority of the games they want to play is new shit. So to me, it's like you're almost getting punished for it. But I guess like my thing with PlayStation going into next year, on top of the other issue, you don't really. Because to me, I think the biggest complaint I've learned is just game variety. My problem is I don't think there's any precedent for them to change that. I don't think they have any interest in doing that. I don't think they have any need to do that. Like when you're appealing to like, especially considering their goals appeal to the Western market, what do you gain fucking making Japanese games for them anymore? The older fans want that shit because that's what we grew up on and we thought those were generally good games. But they don't really give a fuck.
Oh, they're not thinking long term then.
Like when they had before they closed down, like, or at least slimmed down that studio into like Team Asobi. I mean, the games, well, from Japan Studios wasn't really doing that well, to be honest.
That's because Sony doesn't promote that stuff. Let's be honest.
No, they have promoted it.
Not enough,
like Gravity
though.
Rush, for example. Like Gravity Rush, for
Sony.
example, they even had like a short anime, that they literally did. Like you can't say they didn't try hard enough.
Sony treats their Japanese studios like they treated the Vita. They just threw it
Damn.
out there, man. They threw it out there and said, you know what? Whatever happens, happens.
That's ooh. So I hate to use the
Vita
Vita.
was treated better in Japan than it was in the U.S. So
No, agreed. The Vita situation was always interesting to me because what it was is that third parties carried it for its latter half. Like Sony kind of gave up after the first couple, maybe the first year or two.
Yeah, first year. It launched with
Because
20 games too, and they just fumbled it.
Now with their
They got
One
cocky
didn't really
again.
want console. They didn't want console like kind of shit. People didn't want like big ass console games on a handheld.
You look at the Switch and how it's successful. I'm pretty sure that's not true.
No. I'm saying back then, I don't think no one wanted to play Uncharted on a handheld.
People wanted to do that on the PSP, but now they got it on the Vita. The problem was the price, and also lack of software. Most of the good stuff stayed in Japan, and Sony didn't really support the Vita for that.
I also don't think Sony has an interest in AA development anymore. I think that's really what it kind of comes down to. I think they only care about AAA development, and I get it. AAA development's the heavy hitters. That's the motherfucker you come out with. That everyone's like, "Ooh, shit!" That's what you get a PlayStation for. But like, AA has its value, and I think very much Sony doesn't give a fuck about that. Because apparently, and I get why, because AA doesn't sell systems. But the advantage of having a bunch of AA is when you got like 2 or 3 heavy hitters and then like 6 to 10 smaller games, that becomes a very compelling argument. Like, because let's be real, if you look at Nintendo's heavy hitters are really just 3 major IPs. It's fucking Pokemon, Zelda, and Mario. That's like their 3 heavy hitters. And I guess Splatoon's weird because it's getting up there, but it isn't like crazy yet. But the point I'm making
I'd say
is,
it's crazy.
well, okay, fine.
I mean, when you look at Japan and how it's doing well in the States, or the fact that they already had virtual concerts for their,
Yeah,
for the
the
girls.
idols. Yeah.
Yeah, for all 3 games already, it's like, goddamn.
But the point I'm making is those are like their major IPs. When you talk about Fire Emblem, when you talk about Xenoblade, when you talk about fucking like some of this lesser stuff, those are all AA games. Fire Emblem's biggest accomplishment is like selling over 1 million copies, which it didn't used to do. But as you all know, in AAA game developing, 1 million ain't shit. Even Zelda, for as great as that game is and as cheap of a system they put it on, still had to sell, what was it, 3 million? I forget. I think it was like 3 million.
3 million.
Still had to sell 3 million to break even. So hearing about Xenoblade selling 1 million, or Bayonetta selling 1 million, or fucking or Fire Emblem selling 1 million, that's some low tier ass shit. Pikmin, same shit. Like, but those are like 4 or 5 fucking games on top of your Zeldas and your Mario Karts and your fucking Scarlet and Violets and shit. Like,
I mean, like when you break it down, like this year we got Pikmin, we got Fire Emblem, we got Kirby, we got what else did we get?
we have what? So we have what? Well, we tend to have 2 Mario titles with RPG coming out in a couple weeks, and then Wonder just coming out. But yeah, Engage. Actually, you know what? I should go back and look because I know I didn't pick up everything, but just Nintendo had a decent amount of shit. People just kind of forgot because the major stuff that people wanted didn't come out until like around now. But let me just double check.
Well, the point for me is that Nintendo doesn't have a drop.
Oh yeah,
we don't have that
Tears of the
drop
Kingdom. Fucking, I don't know why I forgot about that. Holy shit. You had the Metroid Prime remaster earlier this year.
You got hitters all this year.
Advance Wars reboot.
You got that.
Fucking, let me make sure I'm not missing anything.
And we finally got Persona.
Yeah, that's right. We got Persona this year.
I mean, like, I would say this for certain. I think like the only two. I think like Sony does have like two major IPs, and that's Horizon and God of War. Well, technically, if you count Spider Man, but Spider Man is I wouldn't count that as a Sony IP. I would just kind of call it a Marvel IP. But I feel like the major two, like Sony IPs, are basically Horizon and God of War. That's basically how I look at it.
Yeah, but like, what the fuck? like, why is that it? Like on the PS3, you had things like they were actively making new. I mean, for God's sakes, Uncharted was a new IP on the PS3.
Heck, Sony still owns the rights to Wild Arms, and the creator for that one went and did a spiritual successor.
Wait,
So
dead
they can
ass?
still-
I didn't know they still own the rights to that. That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, they still own Wild Arms. It's still their IP.
That's
And
kind of
there's
a
also-
shame.
There's also this game from Level 5 card called Dark Cloud that they still own the rights for too.
Oh, I forgot about that too. Shit.
I think that's what bothers me the most. Like you got some smaller titles you could be making, and that they just say fuck it.
Yeah, because it's not doing Uncharted number. Well, not Uncharted, but Naughty Dog numbers.
Well, yeah, but see that to me, I think that goes back to the point earlier. Like, AA has value. I think the problem is this disrespect to AA development. And I'm
Yeah,
just
who could still get
Technically,
sacked
Horizon
away.
don't do Naughty Dog Horizon don't do Naughty Dog numbers. They don't sell that. They don't sell that high.
well, to be fair, Horizons is a series I always find kind of funny because every time an announcement for them come out, it's always undercut by something. Like, remember the original Horizon was undercut by Zelda. I think Zero Dawn was undercut by Elden Ring. And then the DLC.
Oh, Turtle, you mixed them up. Zero Dawn was the first game.
Oh, I know. Forbidden West. I'm sorry. You're right. Forbidden West. Forbidden West was undercut by Elden Ring.
I mean, they already teased that they got a third game in development, so.
Oh yeah,
They must be doing something.
They
have the VR game too. The VR game, I don't know what game came.
Well, Forbidden West
during that time.
Forbidden West is at least around 8 million units. I mean, they've sold a good amount of shit. Like it's not like Horizon was selling poorly. It may not be doing fucking like 16 mil, but doing 8 mil in an IP that just started, that's pretty good. Especially for their second game.
Most of Sony IPs don't even do the same numbers Nintendo does, if we're being real.
Yeah, but now that I think about it, because I'm curious. I know it was mentioned earlier that Gravity Rush wasn't selling like that. But, like, realistically, what was Gravity Rush selling that they were like, nah, they ain't good enough? Because I'm curious.
Like $1 million? I think they sold.
If you hit $1 million, I feel like you.
Close. I think it was close to $1 million. I don't think it was $1 million exactly. It was kind of close to it.
Let me see.
Damn, 200,000.
That's
the first one.
That's the first one. So I'm afraid to look up the second one. Yeah, I didn't fucking. Well, I'm trying to remember. Wasn't Gravity Rush 2 only on the Vita anyway originally?
No,
the first Gravity Rush was on the.
That's what it was.
The second game.
It started on the Vita.
The second game was built up from the ground up for the PS4.
And it was a sequel to a game.
It sold 40,000 on the Vita, which is.
Oh God, that's a shame. That's a shame. I can see why it kind of got shelved just off the sales.
Then it got ported over to the PS4 by Bluepoint, and that was a pretty good port.
Also, he is not. Tyrone is streaming right now. But yeah, I get it. I just kind of wish. Oh, well, the PS4 version sold 140K. Looks like. Well, no, on VG charts, it has Gravity Rush at.
Yeah, I see 500K.
Yeah, I see 500K. To me, if it only sold 200K, I don't even think Sony would have humored a sequel by that logic. Unfortunately, that was kind of that's like a 3DS situation. That's the way I look at it.
I'm trying to
Where
figure out where that number came from, though.
yeah, because Gravity Rush 2 is like a little bit over 300,000 in total, but it's the PS4 version of it. I think and the reason why we even bringing this up in the first place is because fucking these are the IPs that even I get that they weren't selling like crazy. And I get that they definitely weren't selling like over 1 million. But I think there was some finance. I mean, there was some. I think the problem with these kind of games is they're long haul games. Those games can eventually reach those statuses because as we've learned through the gaming history, not all genres are created equal. Not all genres sell like crazy when they first come out.
I mean, yeah, Returnal, like Returnal was a new IP, only sold 5K, which is supposed to be a Metroidvania kind of shit.
You mean 500,000? You mean 5,000?
500,000.
I mean,
Only
it's-
500,000 for a Returnal.
Okay, that'd be kind of sad. If
that's
it was
why.
yeah.
That's that. Listen, I just want a clarification, Donnie. Damn.
That studio would have closed.
Oh, absolutely.
Horse Molecule. I mean, Horse Molecule. I mean, but that's when like Returnal was in the development for Sony like before they bought them. So yeah,
Oh, they bought the studio. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they both the studio. I
yeah.
know about
Horse
that.
Molecule. They bought Returnal Studio on Horse Molecule like after the game released.
Yeah, it's essentially it's not even originally a Sony IP. It just became one as a result of it getting bought. Pretty much what fucking Xbox does, where they'll buy like Cuphead to me is a great game, but that game was technically in development before that studio was even purchased. Same thing with what was it? Super Lucky Star. I think it was the same thing. Ori.
And Psychonauts.
Yeah, well, Psychonauts went through a weird situation. That bitch jumped between two consoles like it was nothing. And now I think Xbox owns Double Fine, right? Or is it Xbox that owns them now or PlayStation? I think it's Xbox that owns them now because it started
Pretty
off
sure it's like,
because it started on PlayStation. PlayStation had them out there and did that stupid Kickstarter, I think, and then Xbox ended up buying them later. But the game was still obligated to release on PlayStation, I think. Gravity Rush is a great game, but doesn't appeal to modern PlayStation gamers. To be honest, I think Gravity Rush 2 would have done amazing on Switch. Yeah, but that would because Sony still has the rights to Gravity Rush, right?
Yes, they still
Yes,
do.
they do.
Yeah,
It's
but
still
then,
their IP.
so yeah, but they're not gonna do anything with that.
they should
The
just
only-
slide that over to Steam.
Yeah.
Actually, that would have probably made the most sense anyway. Take some of your smaller titles you don't plan to do anything with, and just have them go to Steam. Because right now it's just kind of stuck. The only way you can play, the only advantage with Gravity Rush 2 is at least it has a console release.
Yeah, but that online is gone. So at least if they were to make a PC port, people could revive that
Ooh.
online.
Ipser has a good point. All consoles have their good and bad points, but when has Sony ever moved the industry forward aside from CDs? I think Sony's issue is that they react to others and are never proactive. That is true. That is absolutely true. If we're gonna be real about it, when you look at the PS3, Wii, 360 generation. To be fair, Xbox and Sony were both reacting to Nintendo when the Wii blew up as much as it did. And Sony's always kind of been that way. Sony does the wait and see approach, which is smart to a degree because it allows you to kind of make your move based on better information. But it also means that people don't view you as an innovator because that's not what they are.
To be fair, you can go back even further than that with the PS1.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
Sony and Nintendo were meant to make a console together and everything, but that didn't plan out.
Right. But yeah, that's kind of the reality. And I think Ipser, you nailed it. Fucking Sony doesn't innovate. Sony very much is a wait and see kind of guy. And because they're a wait and see kind of guy, that means the change you get from Sony will be after something happens. The only thing that was kind of crazy they got ahead of to a degree was the Xbox stuff back during the Xbox One's reveal, and that was
that's
only.
not 100% fair because they did push like the whole blue DVD thing.
They're true.
I guess
Well,
that is
they did
innovative. I guess.
they did start doing Blu-rays like Blu-ray discs way before Microsoft did.
Right.
Yeah, since it's a Sony technology, anyways.
So, which if that was the case, then why was the console still so fucking expensive if it was their technology?
$500, new technology. Price won't go down until they keep manufacturing it.
And oh yeah, and they like PlayStation PS Now was like a pro, like think about it, it's a prototype to freaking Game Pass. It was basically their Game Pass way before Game Pass was originally an idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that is true.
one's worse than the other, and then
One
one's
can
still
afford to be worse because they have the money for it.
Well, to be fair, that's the entire Xbox brand. If we're gonna be real about it, Xbox could afford to fuck up a lot because it was backed. It had so much money. You could realistically, Xbox's survival currently is based off the fact that their daddy, Microsoft, has all this fucking money to invest in it. Because realistically, Xbox's like side never really made a lot of money by itself, and I don't even think it started making money until maybe recently. Like this generation recently, because I know the 360 didn't make any money. It could have, and then that whole manufacturing issues and having to do recalls and shit kind of undercut them on that. And then they started money hatting for games, but we're still losing to Sony because Sony had things like fucking Uncharted and Last of Us, which was a generation that proved exclusives can fucking pull a console out of the grave. Because let's be real here, the PS3 was buried for like the first 4 years of it being out, and then they started getting their shit together. Sony brought in the normies into gaming. King of Blades, that's, you gotta be a little bit more specific. I think every console has their own version of it. Nintendo's is like the casual party.
Console.
Yeah, like every console has every console manufacturer has their own version of casuals. Nintendo's is the Mario Party, Mario Kart crew. Fucking Xbox's is the dude bro. I'm only playing shooters and fucking sports games. And Sony's
You know
is
what's funny about that is that
what?
they don't even have shooters anymore.
They
have to
don't.
buy 'em.
They don't. To me, that was like the only genre you could give Xbox credit for, and they kind of lost that like the next gen actually. Yeah, the next gen, because Halo 5 came out and was a fucking disappointment. Infinite, from what I've been hearing, is a good game. It's just not finished, which is kind of a big deal for what would be considered one of your heavy hitting franchises.
Well, unfinished and bad decisions.
Well, usually they both go hand in hand anyway. Actually, usually not finishing a game was the bad decision in the first place. I guess my problem is just that this is the position we're in now. And like I said, it's not like Sony's like completely screwed. It's just me. But the problem is for those of us who grew up with like an earlier Sony that had a lot more variety in their game lineup, I don't think that's going to change. Will we probably get announcements for more games next year? Sure. But like, are we going to start getting those different kind of games? I don't think so. And that's what pisses me off.
It all depends on what Sony wants to do, and sometimes Sony could be random, and sometimes Sony would just be like, eh. I mean, like Sony as a whole. I mean, like Sony, like the company Sony. I feel like Sony is trying to back off from the games as service thing, but they only have one games as service that's coming out next year. That's Helldivers. I feel like ever since Jim Ryan left, I feel like that Sony as a whole, as a company, I'm talking about the company that's in Tokyo, I feel like the higher ups should decide and let Jim Ryan leave. Let's just let Jim Ryan leave, and then we just restructure, and we just bring in somebody, restructure Sony, basically put it in a different direction.
I guess my question is then, what is that different direction? Just fucking...
I
have no idea.
Devs.
I mean, I don't want to sound too bleak because Nintendo turned it around in one generation, so Sony could do it. It's just a matter of if they're willing to
It's not
invest.
the just not the Jim Ryan direction.
I think
Or Jim Ryan direction.
the difference is that Nintendo's problem was on the console side. Sony's problem is the game side. Like the Wii U for all of its faults still had good games come out. They just weren't fucking. It wasn't frequent enough, and they didn't have enough heavy hitters to like hit the masses the way they wanted to. On top of the console confusion that was going on, but with fucking PlayStation, it's not any of that with the hardware. I mean, there's some weird, stupid fucking decisions with VR and the Portal, but in terms of the PS5 by itself as a console, there's really been no issues. People know what it is, and there's people who are interested in it. The problem is,
I mean,
you're only really buying it for one kind of game.
I mean, and also the DualSense is actually a pretty cool controller.
Yeah, I haven't really heard any complaints about the controller either. I don't know how people feel about it being split up and being fucking used for the portable or portal. Fuck, I hate that name.
Yeah.
I don't know how people feel about that, but I'm curious. I'm actually waiting to see hands on for that because that's gonna be fucking interesting to see the fandom or see people indulging in that system because that system looks like it's going to be a train wreck.
It's cool if you have it around the house, but it has too many cons that go along with it.
Who the fuck trying to spend $200 for it though? That's my problem. Well, you can do the same thing with your phone, realistically, or a fucking tablet. Actually, that's my problem.
I think it's just a Sony dedicated thing. Like sometimes when you do it on the phone, it kind of just doesn't work.
They might as well just make a Switch. That's all they have to really do. Just make a Switch.
I don't think they want to play that game because if they could play that game, the Vita wouldn't have died. Let's be real here.
I think the Portal's like a test.
Oh, this gauge interest?
Wow,
It's just remote play with a screen.
That's
That's all it is. Remote play with a screen.
No, I feel like it is some sort of test because I feel like that's what it is. Because I don't think that they would just create this thing out of the blue.
I just
feels like they did. I mean, there's no Bluetooth.
consider how half-assed it feels. That's my problem with it.
And you need constant Wi-Fi for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You also need a PS5 for this shit though. Like the advantage of having a Switch is that the Switch is the console. With this, you have to already own a P. What this really is an accessory. This is an accessory to your PS5. So if you want to get some more back plates, a fucking stand, those new headphones that only work on the damn Portal, like it's accessories.
It's remote play with a screen, and the fact that you're gonna have to stream it's gonna be terrible.
I mean, I think the only pro I can think of is that I feel like that if you have your PlayStation on and someone else is using the TV, I feel that that's probably the only pro I can give it is that you can just play that shit somewhere else. If someone had the TV with the PlayStation's at, I feel like that's the only thing I can give the pro to. That's the only thing.
How does that work though? Does it split the account up or
no? If they're on TV watching like a TV show.
Just think of the Wii U gamepad.
Actually,
you'll need Wi-Fi.
Actually, that's exactly it. It's just that's literally the gamepad advantage. That's what it is.
I mean, you can. I mean, like the PS5, you can have you can have YouTube open. You know, you can have YouTube open and still have the game.
Do that
open.
on the Wii U too, though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you go on the web browser while you have a game in the back, you could just go on YouTube, which I did a lot of the times.
Yeah,
I think that's what the Portal is basically just doing that. Like you could do two things at the same time.
I also don't think it's funny. I also didn't think it was financially smart to do that in the first place. Because let's be real here. Who the fuck is out here gonna spend? Let's say you want the Slim, right? You're gonna spend $500 for a Slim, then spend another $200 for the Portal, and then another $200 for the fucking headset that only works on the Portal. You spend almost $1,000 on PlayStation products.
If you didn't need the constant Wi-Fi, I think it would be a good buy.
My problem is that it doesn't seem to have its own OS. So literally it doesn't really. Its only purpose is like if you don't have a PS5, you can't do shit with it. I don't know why you wouldn't have put like apps or something on it. Like at least make it a little bit more viable instead of just being a dedicated. You can only use this to play PS5 games.
Yeah, I mean it's only like a Bluetooth like Wi-Fi kind of thing. So like,
I
I think
can't.
that's what they just trying to do.
I get it. I
Yeah,
just
but it doesn't have Bluetooth.
well, okay.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's right.
so here's the thing. It technically has Bluetooth, but it's not really Bluetooth because it's only for like Sony stuff.
Yeah, Sony's own wireless thing.
It goes back to the Vita nonsense.
They said the Vita is still
Even the
a better
Vita has
console.
Bluetooth.
Yeah, but I say the Vita's a better console though. That's the problem. To be fair, the problem is comparing the two is kind of not fair because they're not doing the same thing. The Vita was its own
Yeah.
system. This is literally meant to be an extension of a PS5. This is like, hey, do you want to buy an accessory to your PS5? If your answer is yes, then $200, please. If your answer is no, your PS5 will still work and you can still enjoy your games on your fucking OLED television or whatever the fuck. I think I'm just more concerned that this is our weird direction. We have barely any exclusives at all this year, except for Spider-Man. And then the month after Spider-Man comes out, here's like 3 fucking accessories to your goddamn PlayStation 5. One of which is just another PlayStation 5. And you're just like, what the fuck? On top of the weird increase to PS Plus. So you're already charging me more for the online system I use, then offering me two $200 accessories for my PlayStation 5. Who in the fuck is out here like, I don't know who the hell is that ride or die for Sony that this is on top of not knowing what we're getting next year except for some third party titles.
You'd be surprised, man.
Unfortunately, I would be, and that's kind of the I don't know. I don't know. It just to me, it just doesn't. It doesn't make fucking sense to do things this way. But my problem is that they make money off of it. Like the rumors that are going around about them remastering Last of Us 2.
Oh, God.
Which I don't understand why the fuck you would need to do that. What?
I mean, I don't mind the port, but it's like
No, it's
I
not.
think it's just the hype for the live action show. I believe that's why they're doing it.
But the game's not even. The game came out what? It was in PS4, but it was like
2020.
Yeah, it was late game. It was like late game, like the PS4. It's like late game PS4.
so. I don't think it's been 5 years yet, has it?
No, it hasn't.
No,
So I'm like, what the
No, it
fuck are you?
hasn't.
What are you out here remaking a game for? I thought. I mean, most people
more
even.
money.
But people had the same problem when they remade the first one. We were like, it's been a while, but we just hit 10 years for the original Last of Us. Did we really need a remake when you just put out a remaster? It was the previous generation, wasn't it?
Yeah, PS4.
So I was like, what the fuck? This game has
It's been on 3 generations.
this game has 3 versions of it, and it's only 10 years old. There are games that are almost 20 years old who don't even have remakes yet. And I get it. Last of Us became their cash cow, but like, that's a bad sign, bro. But you're right, Red Dragon, it could easily be for the TV show. That's probably what it most likely is for.
Or it could be for money. Or it could be just for money.
I mean, I think Jack and Daxter would have been a better move.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't think there's any
I just feel like
investment
it's
in
just
that.
for money. It gotta be for the show, or it could be for money. That's all I can see.
I mean,
Last of Us making too much money for them.
But
I don't care that they keep remaking it. Just put different games in between that to give us, something else to play.
I'm surprised we didn't get a Twisted Metal remake considering the TV show.
Did the TV show do actual numbers?
I have no fucking clue. I've heard
Probably the
I heard it reviewed decently, but like it's just weird. Why is that not the thing they got pushed? Like even Nintendo handled it weirdly, but they did capitalize on their Mario movie hype and put out 2 Mario titles, one of which is a beloved game that people have been talking about since their childhoods, which comes out in 2 weeks. But like, at least we got something. Twisted Metal Just got the show, and then didn't put anything else behind it.
The last game we
I
got
mean,
was
like,
in 2012, I think.
Was it
I
good?
think it's
God.
pretty niche though.
it
It
was the
might just be too
PS3.
niche
Yeah,
for
the
it.
last game. The last game was on the PS3. I remember that's for certain. The last game was on the PS3.
Then yeah, 2012 would check out because 2013 is when was right. 2013 is when we got Last of Us. So yeah, that's wild to me, bro.
I don't think Twisted Mill's that overly popular IPs. I don't think that's why they wouldn't push it.
But that's
versus
that.
Last of Us.
But that goes into my original point earlier. There's nothing support your double A. Just because your double A isn't as popular as your triple A doesn't mean you shouldn't support your double A. It's like we forgot that double A games have value as well. There are plenty of double A titles people fuck with.
It took Fire Emblem years to get popular.
But I'm saying it doesn't make money. The whole notion right now is to make the money now.
That's
A lot
where
of
I
these
feel like
companies don't
Sony's
have,
mindset.
yeah, like they don't have patience to just to bring something niche in and try to nurture into something big anymore, because now we live in a culture where it's like get it now.
No,
You
no,
don't
you're
get it
right.
at all.
Yeah, look at Square Enix. They pretty much over budget their stuff, and now they're not really doing well. Sony could have the same thing happen to them if they don't
I
try and
mean,
get
I feel like.
double A.
Hold on, Donnie. I feel like that. Okay, you know that they've been having a lot of gotchas, right?
Yeah, and a lot of them has been shutting down.
Yeah, I feel like that's. I think that's supposed to be their answer to be specifically how they're supposed to make a ton of money. I feel that's the quote unquote answer. I feel like that's why they've been getting so many of them. It feels like that Sony's been getting nothing but gotchas. First it was Bleach. It was the Bleach gotcha. Then they got
Yeah, but
they had Genshin, and then
do
they had
gotchas make
is
money,
it
then?
Honkai.
really gonna be directly
It
profiting
depends
off of
on
that?
it depends on the
I
I mean,
money.
I feel like they split the profits. I feel like that they don't. I don't think that Sony takes a big profit.
I think
that
Sony's
Sony
more.
takes like a.
I think Sony's paying them just to get it exclusive to their system.
I mean, like it's basically all the. I mean, all the gotchas that they got is only on PlayStation.
But
Oh, no, mobile.
I do want to say, honorable senpai, you're right in the sense that they want the money now. That's the reason why they're only investing in AAA development. The problem is AAA development still takes fucking time. So now we're just playing the waiting game for the next God of War, for the next Horizon, for the next Last of Us.
Has anybody played God of War?
What,
Yeah, I
Ragnarok?
have.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I did.
Are you looking forward to the next one?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. I wasn't even looking forward to that one, honestly.
That's how I feel, man. I mean, it was a good game, but it's like,
Yeah, it was a good game, but I just picked it up because I've never been that high on God of War. I might be one of those rare people that it just never pressed me, but I still liked it. I didn't have any qualms with it. I am interested to see what they would do with the next installment of it.
well, that's why I said
I mean,
a lot
did
of
you-
Sony games.
I mean, did you ever play the original God of War, not the God of War that just now doing all this shit?
Vaguely, I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really dabble into it. I dabbled to the God of War 3 when they remastered it, and then when they did the 2018, I got into it. But I haven't really been like that high on God of War. It's just been one of those games like I'll probably pick it up. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. So it's like
It's kind of like it's cool, but like I don't need it.
I wasn't pressed to get it. Like I wasn't fiending for it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I wasn't like,
Well,
I can't wait for it to come out.
And that was the conversation we were having earlier with the PS5 generation in general. I think Spider-Man might be the only title that people were like that for. And even then, you kind of already played that game when you got Miles at the beginning of the generation.
I'm gonna be real. Like, I platinum Spider-Man 2, and it's like I could have waited. It's not a day one game for me.
I
That's
think
just
the
for me,
reason.
you know.
Really
Oh, yeah, I
short,
guess.
isn't it?
It's different. It's different strokes for different folks, man. Because like for me, Spider-Man, since I'm a comic head too, so of course I was gonna pick it up. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to see what kind of spin they would do with the story. So that's why I was kind of excited for it. So and
Well,
I've had a good time with it.
Spider-Man's a weird case because technically it's an IP that exists outside of just gaming, whereas like Last of Us or God of War Horizon are strictly gaming IPs. Spider-Man, I think, will always have a broader appeal just because it's like being like Batman. It's a fucking, they're superheroes. Like they already had years of a legacy before people were even playing video games. So like these comics came out like in the 30s and shit. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. I guess my problem is more so, what have people been excited about outside of that for your PlayStation 5? Because the only 4 games I hear about is God of War, Horizon, Spider-Man, and fucking Returnal. Returnal being the only new game, and as we've already mentioned it, to be fair, I'll give them the same credence you give Xbox. You're a fucking savage, Donnie. I'll give them the same. I'll give them the same leeway I gave Xbox. Since Xbox does that shit where they buy IPs during them making a game, that's essentially what Returnal is. I'll give them Returnal. That's one fucking game compared to the other what? Because who the fuck was out here pressed for Ratchet? Ratchet and Clank to me is a glorified tech demo. Ever since I saw the first trailer for that game, I was like, oh, it's a tech demo for the PS5. Like, not saying it's a terrible game, but like people, you buy that game to see what the PS5 can do. You don't buy that game because like, man, Ratchet Clank is just so evolved from it. Because everyone who's played it tells me, yeah, it's just Ratchet and Clank. It's just like, did you play the remake on PS4? Yeah, it's that. It's just that with better graphics.
I could say this about my PS5 experience so far. It could have waited. I could have waited for that shit. Honestly. You didn't. You really, even when they weren't selling for you, could have waited for it. If you want to keep it completely a buck.
I mean, it was wild to me that people were paying $1,000 for it. I was like, that's crazy.
No, I thought they were freaking stupid. I was gonna say the other word, but no, I thought they were freaking crazy. Because there's no way in the world you could tell me you would pay $1,200 for this, and then you don't even have like what exclusive came out when the PS5 dropped? Does anybody remember?
Demon Souls.
Yeah, it was Demon Souls and something else.
Demon Souls.
Demon Souls was the major
the
game,
hardcore,
though.
but
I think Demon Souls was the major game.
I can't. Oh, and Destruction All Stars.
What the hell is that?
Isn't it just like a? Never mind. We're not even going to humor this.
like I'm saying, you could have waited to get the PS5 until like pretty much this year, but it's been lackluster. I know Sony doesn't really care. Yeah, it is. Sony, to me, I just say Sony doesn't care anymore.
What about
they're
just?
going to make their money. They're going to make the money handle.
Oh yeah, you're right. Miles Morales would have been the other one.
I could tell you all the launch games. There were 17 of them.
There was
Assassin's Creed, Astro, Playroom, Borderlands 3, Bug Snacks, Call of Duty.
That's
Dead
right
by
here.
Daylight, Demon
The
Souls.
exclusives.
Well, you could guess. No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's cool. What was that main game? It said, "Hey, you get that justified you even buying them."
I think it was
Spider-Man.
Was it no? So it was Miles and fucking a remake of Demon Souls. That was what it was. So
I'm like Miles is on PS4, and if you want to really be honest about it, wasn't really that much of a jump from the PS4 to the PS5 because I had it on both.
Ooh, damn!
The only difference is that the PS4 one I think was like fucked up, and the PS5 one was running fine.
Remember,
To me, they both kind of just ran the same. The PS5 made it run smoothly. I'll give you that.
You remastered the first game too.
Yeah, but I don't like the face change. That kind of irked the shit out of me for the first game.
I got another question, right? So let's say if you didn't own a PS5, right?
Yeah.
What would be a major game that would convince you to buy it?
Gravity Rush 3, if that ever existed, but that won't.
Me personally,
that's hard because
any game
in the Sony catalog,
any game.
Sony for me, it's always been a collection of games. Like it's never been just one game for Sony. and I get it because I'm a Nintendo kid. So like, I was always like a Nintendo Sega guy. So I think only Nintendo and Sega had like IPs that would be like, oh, Sonic's coming out, bet, or fucking new Pokemon game, bet. Like that's what do that for me. For Sony, it was always like a bunch of smaller titles that I thought were cool. Like I'll use the PS4 for example because I didn't buy a PS4 until the Pro came out. And at that point, I had things like Bloodborne. I had the original Horizon. I had what was it? You had Killzone, Infamous, Second Son. You had a collection of smaller titles that were enough for me to be like, you know what? I kind of give a fuck. But the other reason why was because that was my third party machine. Like being a Nintendo guy, we all know you ain't getting third party like that. And even if you are, it ain't gonna run like it should. So like the trade off for me when I bought a PlayStation console was always like third party machine and a couple of exclusives I care about. And with having an Xbox this gen, my third party machine needs are kind of met. So the only thing really a PlayStation can do to me is give me some single player experiences that I can't get anywhere else. And as of right now, you gotta at least show me somewhere between 3 to 5 games. At least 3. And my problem is I have 3 games, but they're not 3 games I need to play right now. I think that's the biggest issue. Like Horizon Zero Dawn was a new IP on the PS4, so I was a little bit more interested there. Same thing with God of War. Okay, it's a new take. But now that I've played those games and I know what I'm looking to, am I as excited about their sequels? Not really. I think God of War is a game that was intentionally gimped by its camera choice for no fucking reason, than for some cinematic flair. And Horizon is a game that I think has really good gameplay, but such an unengaging fucking story.
I will say Forbidden West is a lot better than Zero Dawn.
Well, that's good. Eventually, I will play it. It's just not high on the list. I think if you gave...
Eventually, I will finish it.
Say what?
I said eventually I will finish it, but yeah.
See?
I won't even hold you.
Well, I got another
started
question.
and I just faded.
Do you guys feel like Sony games are like one and done games?
Yeah.
I would say not necessarily.
The only game that I can find myself going back to, well, if I'm talking about PS4, it's probably like Bloodborne and Spider-Man, I think were the two I was the most engaged to go back and do other things for. The rest, like God of War had extra shit, but I can't, I just don't like, God of War bothers me because of the fucking sacrifice it made for the sake of convenience. Hey, look, I want to do this cool camera angle. So the game is objectively worse for it, though. Not saying it's a bad game, but the game could have been better and is literally hindered by a choice that wasn't really worth it, in my opinion. Last of Us 2, just... There's only like a handful of games I'd double back on. Nah, but I'll let Honest give his opinion.
Last of Us 2 was one, because I did go back and play that a few times. I did have my own qualms with it, because I didn't like some of the slow down, like some of those flashbacks, man, we could have kind of just, cut some of them out, and we could have redid some of it. But Last of Us was one that had a lot of replay value for me, especially when you start upgrading weapons and you get to go back. And for me, like being OP or knowing how to, strategize how I'm gonna take cats down, that was cool to me. Spider-Man is another one that had good replay value. God of War, like Terrell said, just had the extra shit at the end, which was cool because, I could go back and do some side stuff and get like more in depth with the lore, so I was fine with that. But as far as others, I gotta really go back into the memory banks a little bit.
Well, that's the problem is I don't want to be fair. The PlayStation 4, I think, objectively has had a better lineup than the PS5, but I would argue the strongest lineup PlayStation ever had was either the PS2 And as much as I used to talk shit about the PS3 lineup, the PS3 lineup isn't actually that bad. It's just fucking.
Yeah, the PS3 wasn't bad.
But the problem is, I think we've downgraded ever since. Ever since the PS2, each generation afterwards was a downgrade to some extent. The PS3
That's
was a
because-
downgrade from PS2, but I think that was going to happen no matter what. The PS4 was definitely a downgrade from the PS3, and the PS5 has been an obvious downgrade from the PS4.
Oh yeah. PS2 was goated though, man.
Well, yeah, but the PS2 had everything, like literally
Yeah.
everything. I don't think that was going to
Yeah.
ever be topped. How do you top
Yeah, I don't
having
think you'll ever
everything?
get a catalog. Yeah, I don't think we'll get a catalog like that
Also,
in the
Pocket,
next few generations.
just give context. Pocket Hercules. When I say downgrade, I mean in the sense of volume and quality, but definitely volume. Holy shit! We just and once in that part that just came with the fact that the industry kept losing studios. We kept losing studios. They kept getting absorbed by other companies. Kept fucking losing IPs and shit. And it was just like, what's going on? Like with Sony, you lost what? Parappa the Rapper. You lost Sly Cooper. You lost Jack and Daxter. You've lost Infamous. You've lost Twisted Metal to a degree. Like when Sony, when you looked at like a Sony fucking, when you look at like a, you know how like take a Nintendo logo and you know the 4 characters you're gonna see initially on that bitch: Mario, Link, Pikachu, and probably fucking, I'll say Inkling for the sake of popularity. With Sony, it always switches. It's fucking Joel or Ellie, probably Ellie now because of Last of Us 2. Well,
Great.
yeah, but that's not. But it changes between generations. Initially, you would have said Crash, Spyro, Parappa, fucking Sweet Tooth, fucking Sly Cooper. You had a variety of, but it changes every time you go to a new console. Fucking PS3, it was what? Nathan Drake. I guess you could still say Ratchet and Clank, Joel and Ellie, and then probably, I was gonna say Heavenly Sword, but that game did not do well enough to justify putting in that box. But the point is that it changes, and then fucking you get the PS4, and it's like what? Knack, fucking, I forget, Alloy from Horizon, Bloodborne, and probably Ellie again from fucking. It's like, and only one of those characters carried over. Like that's
You can probably throw Jen in there.
you know who?
Jen from Ghost.
Oh yeah, that's true. You could. The problem with Ghost is that it just came out so fucking late. It came out literally at the end of a generation. What system did I play Batman? Oh, I played Batman on Xbox, Hercules. But yeah, that's the thing. PlayStation very much deletes their past, which I don't really know that's the right thing to do. I guess that's a better question. Considering you have examples of both, would you want IPs to stay in rotation what Nintendo kind of does, or would you rather them do what Sony's been doing, which is delete a chunk of them and then make new IPs?
Rotation.
Yeah. If those are the only choices, yeah. Rotation.
Yeah, because I can't. But okay, well here's the question. You said that means you would have a third preferred choice.
Yeah, I want them to be creative. Actually, like I want the developers to actually create, because it seems like you'll get one game. Okay, this is a hit. How do we milk it? And it just seems like it's just that ongoing cycle, and it keeps people are gonna keep buying. They're gonna keep doing the same thing. It's just gonna be a cycle that keeps repeating itself.
I think they did. I understand, because it's something you said earlier about it's become about the money, about getting the money as quick as possible, and I understand that. But like, but I genuinely believe
It's a business, man.
if you were to invest in the smaller stuff, I think the return in the long run would be better. I get that it would be a slow burn, and that's the problem. But god damn it, who the fuck's trying to see you put out 4 God of Wars? Like people gotta think about this. Uncharted blew its load between 2 console generations. You got 3 Uncharted games in the PS3 generation, and then got another game and a half, like early into the PS4. And motherfuckers in the back, like, where's Nathan Drake at? Like, damn.
Motherfuckers are still playing Grand Theft Auto 5. And I know that's not a freaking Sony exclusive. Grand Theft Auto 5 is how many generations now? And that shit is still selling like hotcakes.
Technically, it would be the end of the 360 generation. Because it came out, didn't it come out 2013?
Yeah, it came out in 360. They re-released it on the
PS4.
the Xbox One.
Yeah, and the PS4.
And the PS4. And then they're doing it again for
Did it come out?
PS5.
Did it already come out on the PS5? And because
I think it did.
I thought it got delayed. That's why I asked. Because it had been a while. Because technically, you could still play it on the PS5 with backwards compatibility, but I didn't know if the PS5 copy of GTA 5 it came out already. Oh, did they drop indies? I don't know what the fuck happened with indies.
I want to used to be heavy into the indies.
Yeah, and then they all made love with Nintendo instead.
Well, I'll give Xbox some credit. Xbox, I would say in a lot of ways cultivated early indies as well with the Xbox Arcade stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll give them their props. I don't know what the fuck really happened with Sony and indies because they still have indies, but like they don't really push them like
They
that.
don't promote them. Yeah, they don't push them. They have them. It's just that you have to go through the grapevine to even know they exist.
Every time we do,
Sony won't really say something.
Yeah, every time we do a state of play, it's fucking VR shit and I guess updates on games we should have already had. And I'm just like, what in the fuck is going on?
I mean, even Nintendo has directs for indies.
Yeah, they're nitty gritty. What's up?
Wasn't Samurai Zero supposed to come to PlayStation?
Hold on.
Samurai Zero?
It is time to Google. What the fuck?
Never heard of that one.
Hold on.
I've heard of the name, but I haven't heard anything in a while. You said Samurai Zero, right?
Yeah.
It's on Steam too.
I only see it on Steam right now.
It's coming soon. It says.
Yeah, it was supposed to come to PlayStation.
But the problem is that was the original problem. We're playing the waiting game still. That's actually the biggest problem with 2024 for Sony. We don't know most of these lockdown dates or anything. We just have they're supposed to. We're going to see it eventually. I guess it's coming. And everyone's in the back like, it's fucking November. like when you going to give me a release date or something? And I'm not saying it won't come, but it looks kind of wild when your previous year has one major game release. You had Spider-Man. And somehow we're still sitting here like, what we get next year? I don't fucking know. Nintendo fans are fucking getting another damn Mario remake in a couple weeks. Fucking like what the fuck are we doing over here at Sony? And to be fair, because Nintendo has done this before too, where they've waited before giving a direct. Also, is if we get through December like right before Christmas and we ain't heard nothing, bruh,
it's Katana Zero.
We still know they cooking now. We still know they cooking.
Yeah, it's Katana Zero. That was what was supposed to come to the PlayStation.
Katana Zero.
At one point.
Do we have a fucking release date for that though?
I mean, it's already on Steam. I think it was on Xbox.
That game is from fucking 2019 and hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, and that was they announced that like a while ago. Like I guess it was rumored that it was gonna come or that it was slotted to come, but it just never happened. You never heard anything else about it. It just went to the wayside.
Oh, that's right, Goki. You're right. Uncharted had a multiplayer mode unlike any of the other Sony games. People wanted multiplayer games that came with the single player, and Sony just not delivering. Even with The Last of Us Remaster on PS5, they still don't have factions. And they expect you to pay full price. That's right. Y'all did lose the multiplayer. Didn't they cancel it?
They said it's on ice for now.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Uh,
it's stupid.
What the fuck?
I mean, it's just horrible, man.
Well, with that, people have already been complaining about the lack of multiplayer experiences. Honestly, what is the multiplayer game you would be playing on PlayStation anyway?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, besides the Bungie game they had coming out.
Well, when's that coming out?
Didn't Bungie get a bunch of layoffs recently though?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. There is a video I will suggest in the comments for y'all who want a good laugh, because this video was the reason that inspired me to even do the stream on Sony in the first place. If you have indulged in Crumbside Gaming YouTube, you will recognize the name I'm about to mention. But I want to get the link to the video first before I say it.
Is it Black Bonds?
Nah, not Black Bond. It's a Nintendo guy, but it was a joke on State of Play, because of it's called him as Baron Black, or the Black Baron.
Oh, okay.
Emperor. I'm gonna leave that link to his video. It's like 6 minutes. It is a beautiful representation.
Did they
Is
cancel
he yelling in that thing?
Kind of. It's a parody on a State of Play, like he's doing a State of Play, but it's also like low key, just being like, they fired a bunch of people. We don't know what games are coming out. It's all hell over here. And I always say, if nothing else, Emperor is hilarious. I will always give him that. He may not be the most informed in certain situations, but he's fucking hilarious. And that video is what prompted me to be like, you know what? We don't really know what the fuck is going on over there at Sony. Like, at all. It's a string of, like, just not a goddamn thing. Or it's we're waiting to hear if something's gonna hop. Like, something's gonna pop off.
That could be why Jim Ryan left.
That's always gonna be the Jim Ryan situation is interesting to me, because I'll be real with you, I don't think any of us really know the inner politics of Sony as the moment. But it seems like, I think someone said it earlier, they seem to be trying to go into a different direction, which unfortunately seems to have like nothing to do with gaming to some degree. But they still
corporate shit.
But they still want to get fucking paid. That's my fucking problem. You still trying to get paid, but you ain't putting in no work.
Isn't their gaming market like the main way they make money?
Well, it's the most. It was the only way they were making money for a while. I know for the PS4, definitely. I don't know if that's still the case for the PS5, but I know for the PS4, it was the only profitable part of Sony. Now, they may have fixed the shit with the other departments, but I know for a while, gaming was their only, like, successful venture.
I think entertainment is picking up, too.
Yeah. Like I said, I knew it.
Due to Spider-Man.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly it. But see that man, I'm just.
Hey man, bread and butter, baby.
It makes me mad that their saving grace right now is fucking Spider-Man and Insomniac, and I'm saying it separately for a reason, because Insomniac has put out 3 fucking titles already: Miles, Ratchet and Clank, and then Spider-Man 2.
That's about to be 4.
It's about to be 4, but honestly, you can't keep relying on one fucking developer to carry you through a generation. That's wild to me. You got this one developer, got the whole damn company on its back with only 2 other games of note. Or I guess I'll say 3. Returnal, Horizon, and God of War.
Wait a minute, we forgot about Sucker Punch.
Yeah, Sucker Punch is one of them.
But what are we getting from Sucker Punch?
Oh yeah, shit.
Ghost of Tsushima 2. What else were they working on? It was something else. They were working on something.
My question, but once again, we don't know when any of this shit's coming out. That's the problem. And Sucker Punch finished. Bro, shut the fuck up.
I'm being realistic.
Listen. We got Ghost of Tsushima in 20, I think, what was it, 2020, 2019?
A great game, by the way.
Yeah.
That was like fucking 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago. You tell me we can't get...
25.
Ain't no fucking way, bro. There ain't no way.
I don't trust anything in this industry anymore.
I'm just assuming they're making a part 2 to it.
I am too, but shit.
If Wolverine flops, Sony is gonna pray for Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch to come.
There's no way Wolverine.
I'm not gonna.
I'm about to say, don't put that evil in there.
I don't think.
put that evil
Yeah, but say you can say people say what they can say, but like Insomniac doesn't really miss. I don't think to me their worst IP is Ratchet and Clank, and that's only because they've just homogenized it. But at least it serves the purpose of being like a tech demo.
I will say,
Don't worry, they're gonna
Spider-Man
miss most
2, it was a buggy mess, like somebody said in the comments.
Oh, Donnie. What Spider-Man? You talking about
Yeah, I
Spider-Man
didn't say it
2?
in the comments. I said it out loud.
Well, you also said in the comments though.
Yeah.
But fucking
I was surprised how buggy it was.
because I think because they rushed it. I don't think Spider-Man 2 was meant to come out this year.
I don't think PS5 was meant to come out.
It was
Well,
meant to come out in October, because I'm pretty sure they needed like another month or two just to polish, which is quite evident. Because
yeah, I would
it
assume.
wasn't like crazy game breaking bugs on my end, but it was shit that you like.
It was just less polished than what you were used to from the first game.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty much.
Nintendo, they delayed Tears of the Kingdom for a year just to polish it.
Yeah, but see that's the difference. Also, Tears of the Kingdom still took 6 years. I mean, that's a whole other other thing.
I'll take it.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, but see, Nintendo had other games to put out. Like literally, if you had delayed Spider-Man by like another month or two, there would be nothing. You wouldn't be playing a goddamn thing. Like that's the problem. Spider-Man was it. The fact that Spider-Man didn't come out until fucking October is rough in its own right. Imagine being like, these are the titles you're looking forward to. You got Miles in 2020. Can't wait for the next Spider-Man. 3 years later, we might need to push this back to like January or like December. Shit.
Oh, fuck that ending suit too. I just had to get that off my chest. Couldn't
Whoa.
stand it.
Really?
Oh, it just had an Adidas tracksuit on.
Ooh.
With a hoodie.
I mean, if we being real, like most of Miles suits are trash.
Finally, somebody admits it.
I would try to argue with you, but I had the same feeling. I only had like a few that I even rocked. That ending suit was just garbage to me.
It's even weirder because Miles claimed that's an original suit, and it's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Dude, you literally put on some sneakers and a hoodie. And then you cut half the mask off. So it's like, yo, what? Just imagine Miles going back to his high school and they like, oh my God, it's Spider-Man. Wait a minute. Oh, you're black? Wait a minute. You got dreads too? We only know one other black dude in this school with dreads.
That's crazy. Also, Antrike, we do not know what kind of game Wolverine's going to be. We know nothing other than that it's coming and to look forward to it, which...
I know what
It's also
gonna
in the same
be.
universe as Spider-Man.
Why?
Which would be interesting.
I don't know if I even care for it to be in that position. Let something like Wolverine, let that bitch stand on its own 2 feet first before you start doing that. Hey, by the way, Peter and Miles are in this. Like, no, just fucking let Wolverine be Wolverine first. Then you can do that shit. That's why I always made the argument. I've made this complaint before. Like, I don't like the fact that Miles was thrown in the way he was thrown in. Like, give this man his own mainstay in game first, then do the joint venture. Now, granted, I haven't played Spider-Man 2, so I'm not gonna say anything about how it's handled there. But like, to me, Spider-Man 2 looked like it was doing a lot anyway with the fucking, what is it, Harry plot, fucking Craven.
That was a nice spin on stuff.
So I'm not gonna say nothing until I play the game. But like, I just was like, bro, if y'all really want Miles to stick out, fucking let Miles do his own shit. To me, it would have been cool to give the first Marvel Spider-Man be Peter, the second one be Miles, and then the third one's a joint thing. It felt like they slammed a bunch of shit into one game, and I feel like something's gonna fall by the wayside. But once again, haven't played the game, haven't looked at any spoilers, so I could be talking out my fucking ass. I'm not gonna.
If they take out all the MJ missions, I'll be happy.
I was actually cool with the MJ missions.
What? I don't see the point. The only good
Hey,
news,
now
the
listen.
only good news is that since Miles is now Spider-Man 2, I have to worry about. Oh, thank God, there's not any Miles missions too. Because holy shit,
Oh, well,
Splinter Cell MJ, yeah.
no.
no, because in the first game, all it was Peter, come here.
Yeah, you just sneaking.
Peter, come here. Hit some of these enemies up. And then the rest of the time, she's just bobbing and weaving and shit. And I'm just like,
But now she can bob and weave with a gun,
oh my God.
strapping that iron.
I think they think that's cooler than what it actually is.
Oh, that's pretty
Take
much
it
what the dev said. He doesn't give a shit if you think she's a little OP.
Which is why I won't play the game again.
That's wild.
I'm playing it.
That's a wild fucking statement. He didn't
I mean,
care.
I'm platinum the game, so it's like, do I need to play it again? Not really.
I'm gonna put my hands on. I need to at least play it first. But just Jesus fucking Christ,
Ooh, boy.
I feel bad that they rushed Spider-Man just so they had a game this year. I think if that game came out in like January, we wouldn't have had any of the bugs. But it didn't really matter because the game still could hit like 9s and 10s anyway.
Wait, when did the first one come out?
Like 2019.
2018.
Oh, was it 2018?
2018.
No, because God of
Yeah.
War I thought was 2018. Or did Spider-Man come out the
I
same
think it
year?
was Spider-Man then
2018.
God of War. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had
That's right,
crazy
'cause we-
Puddle Gate and all that shit.
That's right, because we didn't go. We've only gone like maybe like what 3 years between games. Because 2018 to 2020 when we got Miles, and then 2020 to 2023 for 2. Like
Damn, Insomniac really is carrying something.
I knew he was. Listen, that's the shit I've been saying. That's the other shit people don't even bring up. Not only do we have 3 Insomniac games on PS5, but their last game was only 2 years before Miles. Like what the fuck? Now, granted, I know that Miles ends up reusing a lot of shit from the first game, which is fine. I'm not really saying it as a negative. Anything, you can do more of that kind of shit, but they need to be careful because you can oversaturate real quickly, and people would just be like, I mean, I've been doing this for like the last 5 years, so I don't know if I want to keep doing
I
it.
forgot Rift Apart. Like it's right next to Miles Morales too. If you got like Rift
No,
Apart,
that's right. It came
real
out.
close.
Did it come out what 2020?
It came out around the launch. It came out around the launch week.
That's wild. You had these motherfuckers doing 2 different games. So I don't fucking. They need to not have Insomniac doing everything. Like if I'm here, I'll put it this way: if we get a trailer for Wolverine next year, and they're talking about 2025, I'm gonna be like, yeah, y'all putting too much on the studio. Y'all doing too much of that studio. I will worry about the game if I hear that game coming out in 2025, and you show me some weird footage.
I just need Sony to buy BioWare and make me happy and redo Jade Empire for me. And I said, hey,
So
get my money.
for you specifically,
Yo.
for you,
me specifically.
it's like, hey man,
I will. Hey, Sony, I'm right here. Make me happy. Fuck all that. You'll get all the money eventually. Forget everybody else. Just make me happy. Just
That made me
remake
think
Jade
of-
Empire.
damn.
That made me think of Beyond Good and Evil 2. That still hasn't come out.
No, I think they
That
didn't.
nigga's dead.
I'm pretty sure it has realistically been canceled.
Nah, I mean, if it didn't get canceled the first time, they're just gonna wait. Now it has a longer development time than freaking, what's the name of this game again?
What?
Duke Nukem Forever, yeah. It
Oh
has a
god, we're
longer
not.
development.
No, we're not doing this again.
Yeah, but it got the Guinness World Record for it, so yeah.
That announced 15 years ago. God damn.
Yeah, it's been a while. It has been a while. I want another platformer that is not Ratchet and Clank. I don't think fucking Sony cares about platformers in any way, shape,
Yeah,
or
we
form.
had Jack and Daxter, man.
Once again, I don't think Sony cares about platformers at all. I mean, they stopped caring about platformers during the PS3. We're gonna be real about it. Like, After PS2, you ain't getting no more platformers. Or you got the
I think
last
that
remnants
this,
of them in the PS3 generation.
I think they're close to making Last of Us like Kingdom Hearts. You're gonna get
Oh
two,
gosh,
two
no.
point. You already
Don't
got
ever.
1.5.
That was a
You
wild
got 1.5.
comparison. That was a
You're gonna
wild
get
comparison.
2.5.
I get
The show is gonna be 3.
I get the direction you went with it, but God, I hated that. I hated all of that, bro.
I mean, the way 2 ended, I'm pretty sure they're making 3 as well.
No, definitely. There's too much money there. The fuck? There is way too much money there to not keep that going. My problem is, what the hell? Oh,
I support that.
but yeah, like I'm just like, man, can we get another new IP, please? Like at this point, if you're not going,
That's kind of a bad thing because if we get a new IP, they might shut the studio down. So it's
well,
like
it depends on the money. It depends on how much it makes that first game. If the first game does well enough, it's not getting shut down. The problem is what studio's gonna touch it. That's my problem. Because if you tell me, Insomniac's making another fucking game, I'm like, y'all getting a little bit too antsy about pushing on fucking Insomniac like this. I need y'all to relax. This is one studio. They need a fucking break. Like, chill out.
I thought Naughty Dog was supposed to be the top dog.
No, guys.
that's what I thought.
What is Naughty Dog put out?
Only
Nothing.
Last of Us for the last few years.
So exactly, we only had Last of Us. The last thing we got from them was the remake. So the last new game we got was what? The Uncharted DLC?
No, you got
Last of Us.
Oh no, Last of Us
Part
2.
one.
Last of Us 2.
Again. Oh.
Last of Us 2 was the last new game we got. Part 1 was
remake of a remaster. That's crazy.
Well, that was the new one. That horrible port. Jesus, I just thought about that horrible port.
he sounded like he was traumatized.
No,
God.
I saw it. I saw a screenshot and I was like, what is that?
It's called a mistake.
I mean, if you're gonna make a video like this in regards to Microsoft, what can you really talk about?
No, the next one I'll probably do is Nintendo. Nintendo will be very interesting for a variety of reasons. Because this also will include a lot of Switch 2 conversation. But that definitely needs to be its own video. I'm not even going to throw that in here. Also, because I think at this point we've gone almost, I think we're like 2.5 hours. So I'm about to cut it anyway. Or otherwise, Landry's going to have a lot to watch. But, yeah, we're going to leave it at that. Because realistically, at this point, we're just going to end up looping back. And the point is, we'll end it with this. We'll end it with final thoughts when it comes to Sony. So I'll just how you're feeling about your PlayStation and how you're feeling about next year. Donnie, you're at the top, so you go first.
Okay, well, here's that used to be this quote Sony always said when the PS4 came out: "Greatness awaits, and waits, and waits, and waits." That's all I could say about Sony.
Fine, honorable
Keep waiting.
honorable senpai, go.
All right. Because I'm petty and I don't want to agree with Donnie, I'll just say, do better. So I need you to do better.
New slogan: do better.
Do better.
Oh Lord.
Damn, that's it.
Fine. Revolver.
I mean, I could have waited, man. I'm not stressing about what's coming to the PS5, but it's like, I kind of wish I didn't buy one at this point. It's like, yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Red Dragon.
I would say I'm all right with Sony as of right now. I'm like in the middle. So, and for me, it's like either some games are not made for everybody. Some of these games aren't for everybody. That's what I gotta say.
Fine. And then for me to just wrap it up properly. I mean, it's not like we're this ain't on some dire straight shit that Xbox has been feeling like for the last like decade. but it is kind of a shame considering from
Few
where we
decades.
fine. But it is a shame from where we started from with Sony to where we're at now. The PS5 is a console that I keep telling myself I'm gonna get, but I can't justify it, so it never gets bought. But I mean, we'll see how these next few months roll out. We could get some some state of plays. We could get some announcements.
Sleep therapy.
Yeah, so we'll see. But that is gonna be it, stream wise. We appreciate the boys for coming in here. What, Donnie? Damn. I appreciate the boys for hanging out. Honorable Senpai, Donnie, Prince Revolver, and Red Dragon. Tomorrow we'll be on Twitch streaming Sakura Wars. So for those in Twitch, look forward to that. And then Sunday I'll be joining Tyrone for more Blue Dragon. As soon as I get these motherfucking soundboards, this is the shit I have to deal with. It's fine. It's cool. But thank you guys for watching. I might try to put up some more shorts from some of the previous streams. So look forward to that. Thank you guys for watching. It's been your boy, the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game. Play to win. And I will catch you guys later. And remember to wash your motherfucking hands. Spoiler, I'm getting demonetized. I already know it. That's the L, so.
I mean, you passed the white limit before you cursed. So,
We'll see. We'll see. My life is never that easy, buddy, but we'll see. Anyways, good night, everybody. And I will see you guys on Twitch tomorrow. Fuck that damn soundboard. Oh, God.